When he got shot, they saw a guy in the building, like just chilling on a rooftop. And you're telling me Secret Service didn't think to go check that out?
It's not Juanito from down the street.
Right?
This is the United States president.
And it makes us look so weak as a country.
And there's been several attempts.
It's not just
So
one.
it's not just one. I know this is a loaded question, but how do we stop it?
And it makes you angry when you think about it, makes you angry when you see what the real life effects of negligence is with our government. Nobody wants to fix the problem. If you had a job where you lost $22 billion, you'd get fired. Why do we continue to put the same people losing our money, not answering for it, back in the same positions and pretending like that's not a problem?
Why is the solution always tax you more?
It's the easiest solution
because we let them.
We let them. There was a study that came out that said that if you have a family, you're making less than $100,000, you're considered as living under the poverty line because it costs so much to live in LA. That is why I'm running for state senate in California, District 30.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
So a lot of things happened though since last week.
A lot of things have happened. I feel like news moves so fast here in California or in general.
Yeah. But what's up with Trump, the Trump assassination attempt from a Californian?
So it seems like they have major security problems, and it's not the first time. People want to believe that there's something malicious behind it. They're like, oh, there's this conspiracy theory that they got J.D. Vance out first, but I think it was the angle of the video too. And then the whole thing of did you watch the video?
Yeah.
So they're taking down the security measures when the guy rushes through.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it would have helped because he rushed through, but
Hey, he was, in his defense, that guy was pretty fast.
that guy was fast.
He was hella fast.
Yeah. But I think it also, okay, so there's a lot. So why are you taking down the security measures with the president and the first lady and every important person in our government was in that room, and you're taking down the security measures? It doesn't make sense. But I don't think it's malicious. I really think it's one of those things where it's just human error. I hope. But that doesn't make it any better because it's not the first time. When he got shot back in last year or a year and a half ago now, right? They saw a guy in the building, like just chilling on a rooftop, and you're telling me Secret Service didn't think to go check that out? It's odd. I feel like they're just
these are all valid points though.
they raise serious questions. Why are they so lax on his security? Not sure why he hasn't answered that, or maybe there's something we're not seeing. But when there's this many problems, that opens up the space for people to create these wild conspiracy theories. But I genuinely don't think there's anything necessarily malicious. It's just, I think it's negligence. Human error is something that we never account for.
But how can you be so negligent when this has happened? It's not Juanito from down the street.
Right?
This is the United States president.
And it makes us look so weak as a country.
And there's been several attempts.
It's not just
so
one.
It's not just one.
And they know it's going to keep happening. But what also didn't help was that all the right-wing conservative commentators and influencers, the first thing that they jump to is the ballroom. But I understand why they would make that leap, because if we had a ballroom, then there wouldn't be a necessity to outsource these events to a random Hilton hotel down the street, and you can control every measure of who comes in, even who comes in through the gates. Even if somebody rushes through the gates or tries to rush through the gates, then they're nowhere near the ballroom, or they're nowhere near the president. But then again, like, this guy checked in the day before. Did you read his manifesto?
No.
I did.
Tell us.
I've never seen so many mental health problems written in 2 pages. So I read it just out of curiosity because I like to know, and I like to see where people's minds are at. The way he described himself, he believes he's a martyr. Like, what he's doing is necessary, which is part of the problem that we're seeing now, which we're seeing a normalization of political violence towards people that aren't on the left. It's anybody who is either, like, if you're a moderate, you're with the conservative movement now, right? And I think that's where people need to open up their eyes. Like, this isn't the party. It's not a party issue, but it's become a party issue. This isn't what it used to be. Like maybe the party has stepped away from you, because now we have politicians that are normalizing, justifying, and celebrating political violence. I've never been in the mental state where I see somebody get hurt and I think like, yeah, I hope they would have died just because I don't agree with them. I don't think somebody should lose their life over me not agreeing with them or not having the same opinions. And yet I hop online and I see all these people celebrating someone getting hurt, someone getting killed over just because you don't agree with them. And it's terrible to think that that's the state that we're in. Then now where if you're not it's not even mainstream anymore. If you're not an extreme leftist, you now run the risk of running down the street and getting hurt because somebody didn't agree with you. It's dangerous. And his manifesto reflects that, because he's thinks that what he's doing is best for society. And it seems like he just wants to be liked, and he's making himself out to be like sacrificing his life so that he can do what he believes to be the better good for society, which is taking out the president.
You know what's concerning too? Those are the individuals teaching our kids. He is a teacher
of the month.
Teacher of the month. I've seen that earlier.
And it wasn't just him. Well, it's him that took the action. But did you see how many teachers went online and felt comfortable making statements that they were disappointed that guy had not succeeded? So it's not just him. It's a wave that we're seeing. Like you said, these are people in charge of your children.
This wasn't like this before, right? This political identity stuff are getting out of control. And you think social media pushes this narrative and this division and continues to just create this division amongst Americans, and essentially are now promoting violence?
I think it definitely has helped normalize it, because before you would say this to, like, if I've said this to you, you'd be like, no, you're crazy. Why would you want somebody dead over the fact that we don't agree with each other? Because you'd only be around like immediate people. But I think because it's you're creating a community that is so like-minded that you're in an echo chamber, and you don't realize that they don't realize that they're in an echo chamber. So because they're in an echo chamber, they're telling somebody who believes, and I think it's mentally unstable. I wouldn't say wanting somebody dead over an opinion makes you stable. I think you're mentally unhinged.
I agree.
So when you have somebody that thinks like you, further that those violent thoughts, that's when these people feel like what they're doing is good. And that's what you see in his manifesto too, because he thinks that people are gonna celebrate him to an extent. So I don't know if it's more of they want to be liked. This is their claim to fame thing, which is also something else that we should be worried about. But I definitely think it has everything to do with social media. Do I think it's a bad thing? No, but I think because conservatives and moderates for the longest time were quiet, that it gave them a really big space to create these narratives, and they got no pushback. Everybody was afraid of getting canceled. So when I was 18 or 19, it was just you couldn't say anything at a university because you can get kicked out of the university.
Really?
Yeah. So, or even your high school, like there was consequences. So because conservatives or moderates were so afraid to speak out and be like, hey, like, this is wrong, I think they felt more like what they were doing was right because there was no pushback. And now we're finally getting to a point where everybody's tired of this. And yeah, you still get pushback. There's still consequences because, oh, you're right leaning. But I think people stop losing their jobs. So they've taken it a step further where now we have to take it into our hands and silence the people we disagree with.
See, I just reminded myself of how young you are. Because when I went to school, none of this existed. Even in Cal State LA. Like, there wasn't this this political identity and having consequences for being a conservative or not going or going against the grain. So there's a lot of propaganda, like in college campuses. Is that safe to say?
Propaganda, and the worst part is it's like you said, the teachers, because I think he was teaching either high school or elementary.
I think it was elementary. I don't know if you want to
which is even scarier because now you have children at 8 or 9 years old being brainwashed because that's what it is. An 8 or 9 year old. Why are you teaching them about your political opinions? Why not just keep it to the core subjects? We're behind in California. We invest more money than any other state does in this country, or we invest a lot more money than most states do. And we're not seeing a return on our investment when our children, or with children in general, because I don't have kids, but you can still see the numbers. So if we're putting in so much money into our schools, why aren't our children competitive with other states, right? So why do we rank so low when if the idea is just put more money into the system, but it's not working? And we need to figure out why it's not working. And I think a part of the problem is that there stopped being so much of a focus on core subjects. Instead, you have teachers focusing on putting in flags that they shouldn't. Or in LA, there was a point in time where, especially during COVID, because my little brother he had gone into elementary school during COVID, so they were doing these online classes, and they didn't want the parents to listen in on what the teachers were telling them. When I grew up, if an adult told you, don't tell your parents, that was a red flag and you're supposed to go tell your parents. Why do we have teachers that are trying to push for policy or legislation where the parents don't know what's going on in their schools? And in LA, they tried to push this, they were having this like week-long lectures for children based off of the LGBTQ ideology, and they put it in with sex education. They would just teach us biology back when I was in, that wasn't that long ago when I was in school. Now you're adding LGBTQ plus. Why are you talking to sexuality to kids under the age of 12, 11 years old? You're just confusing them. They shouldn't even be exposed to these topics to begin with. And parents weren't allowed to opt their children out. And a lot of the times as parents are so busy making money and working that you're not realizing, or you don't have the time to look into some of the policy and legislations that are being passed. And that actually made a wave out here in LA where parents were like, why can't I opt my child out of these classes? You used to be able to. So it seems like there is a drive to make these subjects that aren't core subjects that might confuse children even more because they're young and impressionable, instead of teaching them what they should be. Because if you're not allowing parents to opt their children out, then the institution is raising your kids and not you, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't have kids, and it's scary.
I just made a video about that yesterday.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's going kind of viral right now.
But it's true.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about that? Because you have kids.
He was a tutor, college tutor, and academic instructor, part-time.
He wasn't a full-on teacher.
Yeah, he wasn't a full-on teacher. Although there's claims that he was like an elementary school teacher, but according to Chad,
I don't know. Chad be kind of liberal sometimes.
Yeah.
Chad is kind of liberal sometimes.
That doesn't always give you all of the information. Like, you have to go in and look for it when it doesn't feed the narrative that they want to push.
Yeah.
Okay. I have an issue when I see videos of these teachers that are teaching our children that are in elementary, and they're asking these kids to address them by their pronouns.
Yes.
That's a problem. Like, you're gonna create, these children are like sponges, right? And you're gonna just feed them and confuse them. Like, you are a male and you're asking them to call you something different. Why don't we just go back to, I'm way older than you, to like the 90s when it was like Miss Smith, Mr. Smith, and that's it.
You didn't know anything about your teachers
didn't know
back then.
About your sexual preference,
nope.
Your if you had pronouns or not.
Most of the time, you didn't even know
because it's
married.
Irrelevant.
Yeah, it's relevant.
You have one job, and that job is to educate children. So leave all this
nonsense.
I said I wasn't gonna cuss. Sorry. Leave all this nonsense at home, and if that floats your boat, that's cool. Do it outside of school. You have one function, you have one job, and your job is to teach.
And they'll turn it into an oppression thing, right? They're like, "Oh, you don't even want me alive." I'm like, nobody said that. You're jumping to conclusions. What you do as an adult, what you do in your personal life, none of our business. I agree with that. But when you're putting it in front of the children,
Yeah,
now
no, I'm
that
not
is
okay
the
with that.
parents' business. I think it's a mental health issue because gender dysphoria is considered a mental health issue.
Mm-hmm.
So why do we have people with mental health issues that are pushing and forcing young children to acknowledge their mental health issues? Why are they teaching kids? At some point, I think parents should be getting involved. It's not that I don't want you to exist. It's not that I want to discriminate against you.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was any other type of mental health issue and they were exposing this to young children, we would have a problem with it. But because you make yourself out to be the victim, they'll make themselves out to be the victim, then we ignore it and allow it to continue, which then I think allows it to like you said, children are like sponges, so they'll soak it all in. So it really is. I think the problem was because for the longest time, people were so afraid to say anything. If I say anything, I'm transphobic. I don't care what you do in your personal time. I don't care what you do at home. But now you're putting this on the children of the entire country.
And now it's a problem.
Problem.
Now let me ask you this. Police officers are forced to have a mental health assessment. And there's a portion of the hiring process, either with the sheriffs or with the LAPD. And you're going to have a mental health assessment. Do you think we need to do that with teachers?
I think we absolutely should be doing that with teachers.
Yes, we do.
Because it's like, yeah, police officers handle weapons, and I think that's why everybody wants them to have a mental health assessment. But teachers are shaping the minds of young children, which is going to affect the future of our country and their mental health in the future as well. So we shouldn't be exposing them to just anybody. It really should be top tier. So then we have to look into maybe, do we have these teachers teaching because... why do we have these teachers teaching? Was it because parents were too afraid to say anything before now because they were afraid of the repercussions? So it's gone so far now, and now we're trying to stop it. But now it's harder to stop it than it was before? Or is it because we're short on the amount of teachers, that people that want to be teachers, that want to take over their jobs? Are we short on them? And if so, why? Is it because we're not paying them enough? And all of this, I think all of these are important questions, but we should definitely start with mental health assessments. It's not that hard.
Yes.
And
I agree.
I don't see, and that would include not just, that would include a whole array of issues that we're seeing. But why would anybody be against a mental health assessment for teachers? I'm curious. That's definitely going to be a video.
Oh, it's going to be a video. And of course, we're going to get, but at the end of the day, it needs to be said, and it needs to be done to protect our children.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's another worry too, right? Some people put their children in private school, but you don't always not everybody has the ability to put their children in private school. So the only option that they have is public school, and public schools have all of these problems going on. And that's a reason that a lot of people are even waiting. The younger generations are waiting to have children because I don't feel safe having a kid right now. Like I want to in the future.
It's really difficult.
Right, but if
so
you
don't rush.
So if you can't,
let's fix a lot of shit first, and then you start having babies.
Exactly, that's the goal. We're gonna fix stuff first, so that because it seems to be a common trend in my generation. So if you can't afford private school, then you're forced to put them in public school. So we have to fix our public schools, and I think the mental health issues, a mental health assessment would help.
So I was doing some research. I'm a product of LAUSD, right? I went to public school. Okay, when things were normal. So now I see that within the last 10 years, enrollments have dropped by 20 to 25%. You think what's happening in the public school districts is a big contributor to people saying, hey, you know what? F this. I'm not taking them there.
There's a larger push for school choice now, for like the vouchers and everything, to allow parents to choose where they want their children to go to school for that exact same reason. If schools lost funding because they just weren't up to the standards that the parents wanted them to, they would change their hiring process, they would change their behaviors and everything. So I am definitely pro school choice, picking where your children go to school. But I think that's a massive contributing factor. Now that we also have like the combined effect of social media, parents get to see firsthand what is being taught to their children. Because a lot of what we've seen going on in schools, it's some kid is recording what's going on. So that has given parents a way to see what's inside the school. On top of that, they're also seeing that they're not the only ones that are upset. So that's allowed them to create larger communities of, hey, we need to do something and we need to change it and we need to change it now, because the more we wait, the longer, the worse it's going to get. So I definitely think that's a contributing factor. A lot of it is a contributing factor, everything that is going on in schools right now. And most of it happened just because people are so busy. How many state laws do we have being passed every single day, and nobody knows what's being passed because nobody has time to keep track of everything? Schools pass a policy and parents don't know because, again, it's hard to keep track of everything that's going on. So social media is a blessing in that way.
I seen the writing on the wall, and I'm like, all right, I wanted my kids to be in public school, just like me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I took them out about 2 years ago.
Oh, so you did try to keep them in public school for a long time. You kept them through COVID.
And I think the reality of things, I didn't have peace.
What was the last straw for you? That was like, this cannot keep happening again.
I think, I don't recall. I think there was an incident in school when, I don't know if they had somebody, they were pushing that agenda. Mm-hmm. That, of course, I don't agree with. And why are we pushing an agenda where there's children involved, right? Kids don't know about pronouns and kids don't know about certain issues, right? So why in the F are we doing this?
If I had kids, my last straw would have been when they let men into women's restrooms.
Oh, no, that's not. Listen, I would lose my...
I don't... As of like for men, I think men that more than anything, because you guys have like this natural instinct to protect. How are men, fathers, allowing this to happen? I would never want a man, even if he's a young boy, to be in the same restroom.
I think I was trying to avoid that. Because if something like that would happen in my kid's school, I would lose my stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like...
But that's where...
Listen, when I was going to school, okay, there was 2 bathrooms, okay, for the boys and for the girls. And we knew that if you're a boy, you go here. You do not go here. And there is no if, ands, or buts. This is what it is. So I don't understand where that became normal. That a boy could just be like, hey, I identify
as a girl
today, so I'm going to go in there. Absolutely not.
And then we've seen examples of young girls who don't feel comfortable, like in locker rooms, changing in front or near males, and they're the ones that are attacked at a social level because they're like, oh, you're not, what do they call them? You're being discriminative. You know?
Okay, now you're going to make me curse.
Well, it's like, to me, I'm like, I'm watching this. I'm not a parent, but I'm very overprotective. Now, imagine if you had, like, for people who have kids, I would have barged into that school.
Okay, listen. I have 2 sons, and I have my beautiful baby girl, Sophia, right? And she's super athletic. Like, she's doing volleyball. Like, I try to have her, she does jujitsu.
Everything,
right? But when she competes, I would lose my shit if she was competing against a boy.
Good, as it should be. I mean, you never want to be put in that situation.
And this has nothing to do with what side you're on. If you're a conservative or if you're a liberal,
politics aside, yeah.
All that aside, as a parent, men are stronger, okay? We are not equal.
Exactly.
In that way. Like, we're just physically, genetically, we're stronger. You think I'm gonna let some dude just pound on my baby girl?
Exactly.
Like, just beat her up? That's not happening, man.
And that's what...
I just don't understand, and then I think that's where the disconnect for me happens. Like, I can't sit there and like argue with you because we're way too far apart. Like, how do you think that is okay? Like,
do they, maybe people are people who don't have children that are pushing?
No,
this.
But I just think I think we are going through a lot of, there's a lot of mental health problems out there.
Suicidal empathy. That's what it is. It's where you're empathetic to the point where now it's hurting your society and it's hurting you. So people have become so empathetic towards like these individuals because they used to be attacked. Sure, maybe 20 years ago, if you were trans in school, maybe you were the victim or people hated you, right? But now the tables have turned. Now we have women, because like you said, biologically men are stronger, so women are technically at the receiving end of the danger here. So if a man goes into a woman's restroom, it's easier for a man to take advantage of a woman than if a woman goes into a man's restroom. Biologically, you can handle like if a woman wants to attack you, so people don't really see that as a danger. So as a feminist, which a lot of people call themselves feminists, and there's nothing wrong with that. But how do you call yourself a feminist when you're allowing women, 99% of the female population, to be pushed aside, disregarded, and put in danger over less than 0.1% of the population, like the men calling themselves women? So you're putting women in danger for men. We're going back like 100 years in feminism where we're putting aside women to convenience men, to convenience their feelings, not even their safety, to convenience their feelings. It's embarrassing.
Wow. It kind of is.
Right?
And now you have, I think it's here in California, where now you're starting to house men in women's prison. What do you think is going to happen? Do you want to invest in real estate but have no idea where to start? Go ahead and send us a text or give us a call at 323-352-7946 and let's discuss what's the best option for you. Now let's get back to the episode, baby.
We've already seen it. They get pregnant. Women are getting pregnant in prison. Some of them are saying they're being raped and because, again, it's harder to defend yourself against somebody who has a biological advantage. And not just that, on top of that, taxpayers are paying for their transition surgeries in prison. You know how frustrating
that means I just paid on the 15th. I paid property taxes on the 10th of April, and my income taxes on the 15th. Oh hell no!
It really is like these are, and what will make you angrier is that there are women who have had cancer, who have had their breast removed. They can't get their surgeries covered by their health insurance, but a man who believes himself to be a woman can get their surgeries not only covered by health insurance, but also by taxpayer funds, like in jail.
Okay. Which politicians or what politicians are pushing this narrative and pushing these?
It's the supermajority in California, and I hate to make things about political party because people stop listening. But it's one of those things where even if you're a Democrat, a lot of these people, they don't agree with what's been going on. So we have Gavin Newsom, who's been defending not just transitions and pushing for legislation that funds transitions, like say in jails, but also for so long California hid the surgical transitions that were happening to children. As an adult, have whatever surgeries you want to have. That is your right to do whatever you want to your body, as long as it's with your own money, not with mine.
Yeah, keep my money away from your
right. Like
craziness.
It's like I want my taxes to go and fix the potholes on the road. I don't want it for somebody who is gonna go have an unnecessary plastic surgery. They call it life-saving care. It's not life-saving care. Pay for it yourself, right? Because that's a whole slippery slope that we can go down, saying that because a woman's unhappy with her body, she can now have taxpayer funds, because if she's not happy, she's gonna be suicidal. It's the same argument, and yet we're not fighting to fund plastic surgeries for women, right? And I'm not arguing that we should. I'm arguing that we shouldn't on either side. That's not where taxpayer funds should be going. Taxpayer funds should be going even to audit the federal government, or not the state government, to audit the state government to find out, hey, where are my taxes going and why aren't they being used efficiently? And this transition legislation is part of it. We've had children in California being transitioned and having their breasts cut off as young as the age of 13. At 13, what were you? I had no idea what I wanted to do with my future at 13. You can't even go buy a drink until you're 21. You can't go buy a firearm until you're 21. You can't vote until you're 18, because we can acknowledge that you're not mature enough until a certain age, and that's where 18 is what we call an adult. So why are you letting children make decisions at 13 that are going to affect the rest of their lives when they're not even fully matured enough to understand what they're doing? You have doctors pushing this idea that to parents more than anything, because to parents, they scare them. They tell them, hey, your child is going to become suicidal and they could kill themselves if you don't agree to this surgery. And that's what a lot of the lawsuits are now showing, that these parents were more so, they weren't educated to the full side effects of these surgeries, that they weren't told, and it wasn't explained to them thoroughly, or the consequences of it. Like, you're never going to be normal now. You're going to be on medication for the rest of your life. That's not a conversation that they have with these children. That's not a conversation that they have with these parents. It's more so just pushing these surgeries on top of these kids. It's $1 billion industry, because you're creating an entire generation, or you're creating a population, a demographic of people that are going to be sustained by medication for the rest of their lives. The more you do this, the more money you're making. And this is from like the medical side of it. I think that's part of the reason why that they push it so hard too. The doctors were pushing it so hard too.
So let me get this straight. You can't get a tattoo until you're 18. But you could transition from a boy to a girl, or vice versa, at 13.
At 13, if you wanted to.
Makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it?
Right. And if you disagree with that, oh, you're transphobic. You hate these people. I don't care what you do with your body. I really don't. As long as you're an adult, nobody should tell you what to do. If it's not affecting anybody else.
You know what's more disturbing? What doctors are actually performing these procedures and consciously making a decision that they're okay with conducting these type of procedures.
You're going to need to sit one of those people down in here and have a conversation with them, because I would love to see their thought process. Is it malicious? Is it that they think that they're creating a secure job for themselves for the next 40, 50 years because these people are going to rely on them forever? Or is it that they genuinely believe in their work? But I wouldn't genuinely believe in that. Maybe there's something wrong with me for not thinking that, hey, making a child dependent on
pretty normal
surgery and medication for the rest of their lives, that seems kind of wrong.
And I stop and think to myself, and I'm like, okay, the money can't be that good. Not all money is good money, right? Well, it actually is good enough to influence them. I just don't understand. I wish that I could just, understand them, but I can't. I'm like,
if I morally am not okay with something, I wouldn't do it. There's a lot of ways to make a good amount of money, and I'm still sitting there like, no, I'm not going to do it, because I couldn't sleep with myself at night.
How do these people sleep at night? You ever stop and think about that?
I have. To me, it's like, do they believe in this? I want to talk to them. Like, I want to have a conversation.
I did this surgery on a
13-year-old, 12-year-old,
13-year-old. It was a great day at work.
Right.
Okay.
Even with pain medication, think about, like, say you need some pain medication that's stronger. You have to have, as an adult, a long conversation with a doctor, be able to prove that you need that medication for them to even think about saying yes. Now, when you're a child and you want hormone therapy, yeah, go ahead, get some hormone therapy. I know that an adult, can make the decision, hey, I need some stronger medication to be able to function. And because there's so many side effects to these medications, that even the doctor has to make the final say. Your decision isn't enough for you to get these medications. But a child's decision at 13 for life-changing medication is absolutely enough to give them this kind of medication. There's a double standard that we're seeing with these type of procedures and I don't even know what to call them, therapies, when it comes to children. If an adult can't make a decision, why are we allowing children to make decisions that are life-changing?
I don't understand.
And then this is where the conversation becomes like, this really isn't about politics or political parties. This is more so about, is this what's best for children? Because I don't think it's what's best for children.
Absolutely not. What 13-year-old is going to make a rational decision
I wasn't the same person at 13 that I was at 18, and I definitely wasn't the same person at 18.
Man, I look back in my 20s, I was like, man, I'm still out of control.
Right? Even me 2 years ago, I'm like, damn, I really wasn't like that mature. Should I have been making that decision? No, and that's me as an adult. Now as a child, and the parents and the politicians and the doctors fighting to keep all of this happening, I will never understand that. It just doesn't. It seems like it's too much to do to a child. Why can't you wait until you're 18 at least to make these decisions? Why are we pushing this on children that are 13?
I know this is a loaded question, but how do we stop it?
So one, we need to be socially. I definitely think we need to be socially more vocal, and because of how sensitive society is, it definitely comes with that conversation of, as an adult, I don't care what you do with your body. That's why I always make that very clear, because then the conversation gets sidelined to, oh, you're transphobic. No. I really don't care what you do with your body, with another consenting adult, as long as you're...
With your own money.
With your own money, please.
Yes,
Emphasis on that. As long as you're an adult. But as a child, we need to definitely become more vocal, because we need to stop the politicians. We need to make it very clear to them that this is not what we're interested in, and it's not what we're interested in. Keep pushing. People need to start voting based off of policy and understanding what these politicians are doing and pushing, and that comes even at a school level, because at school levels we have the positions in the Board of Education that make the decisions on what your children see and how schools actually function. So parents need to be more involved. That's really the answer. You need to be more involved. And I know we feel like a lot of people feel like they don't have the time, but if you don't have the time, somebody else is raising your children, and that is the institution. And right now we've seen that it's not the best for your child. So it definitely comes with a lot of responsibility of educating yourself on what's going on, and then going on and voting based off of policy, not based off of political party anymore. Because in California, we kind of let the empathy side of us take control, and now we're seeing the results, and it's not what parents actually want for their children.
I agree. We need to be more involved, and we need to be aware of what the hell is happening.
Yeah. Were you aware, like, say 3, 4, when did you get involved in politics?
I want to say about after the pandemic.
So say,
or during the pandemic.
How old are your kids? Like, what's
10 and well, the youngest ones are 10 and 3.
Oh,
my
so
oldest is 23.
Oh, okay. So say your oldest was in school in like 2017, 2018. How old did you know what was going on in the schools, like policies and everything that was being passed?
I was aware because of my wife.
Oh, so she
super involved.
Oh, that's great.
Like super involved, and she's super involved now.
That's good. Yeah, that's amazing, because it's necessary to have parents involved. Yeah. A lot of the times I'll have these conversations with some parents, and they don't realize what's going on in their schools.
Yeah, so I don't want to be like, yeah, I was super, no, because she watches this, so I'm like, yeah, she gets all the credit. Like, she's super involved.
Well,
so.
I mean, that
she's like, liar.
She's going to stitch you and be like, I was giving him all the information.
She's the one.
Is she in your ear right now? Is she the one feeding you all of this?
She's the one that... No, but now I'm super...
Now you've gotten involved.
Now I've gotten involved. The pandemic changed a lot of things for me. Tons of things for me.
Like what?
You know, I'm a landlord.
Oh.
That changed. I was a lifelong Democrat.
And then they started extending the amount of times it would take to evict someone and how long.
They showed me that they don't give a...
It's really hard not to, isn't it?
I'm trying to. I'm really keeping my promise, guys. They showed me that they didn't care about me, or anybody else, or any small businesses, or any landlords, or
anybody.
Okay, when you impose rules that are one-sided, you lost me.
Yes. Yeah, it's okay. So I know so many people that lost their second house because they were the person that they were renting out to took the eviction extension as an opportunity to not pay rent. Yeah. These individuals aren't these rich corporations that it doesn't hurt you when you don't pay rent. These individuals where they can barely afford the lawyer to pay for the eviction process, right? Because it's a long process. It's hard in California. The issue is that when people take advantage of them, they were using the rent to pay the mortgage of the house. So now when the tenant isn't paying rent, within 3 to 4 months, they're beginning to lose their house because they can't afford to have that second house without the rent payment. That somebody's living in their house and you can't even kick them out.
Which I think, this is what I think, that the pandemic, it was of course planned, right?
Yeah.
But it was a direct attack on landlords and on ownership. So like, how do we make these guys lose their properties? Let's just be one-sided and allow these people to not pay, and then tell the landlords and the owners, hey, you still got to pay property tax, because they didn't pause.
No, the property tax didn't get paused.
They didn't pause property taxes.
They didn't pause your taxes either.
And they didn't pause property taxes, income tax. They didn't
payroll tax.
They didn't do any of that. And I still had to pay for utilities. So 1 month before I renovated this whole property, right? In 2019, I bought it in 2019. Took me a few months to fix it all up. New kitchen, new bathroom, new everything. And I rented it out January 1st of 2020. He paid me rent 1 month. And it took me 12 months to get him out. And that was just one.
That was pretty fast too.
20, and I got him up because I had the attorneys and everything on.
Yeah.
You know, so I know what I'm doing when it comes to it. Because people were like, how did you do it? I'm like, I know what he did wrong, but I'm not going to say it. I'll tell you after.
You're like, not right now.
I make sure that. And I'm like, okay. And that was just one. There was landlords and property owners that had their whole complex not pay. Because Univision was telling them,
you don't have to pay
then you
rent.
don't have to pay.
And yeah, when you get them out of the house 3 years later, they owe the compounded amount that they didn't pay. But these people are never going to pay back.
Ask me how much money I got back.
How much?
$0. And he probably owes me like 30-something grand.
And they just never pay back.
And they never pay back.
Who survived the pandemic? It wasn't small businesses. It wasn't people who, right? That's the thing. It wasn't small businesses who took over. It was the corporations. The small family restaurants, they closed down because they were told to close down. And you still have to be paying your rent. You still have to be paying, like you said, your property taxes. You're not able to run your business anymore. So where do you get that income to continue to not only is it what you live off of, but to continue to run a business or to continue to pay your bills? All the small there's thousands of small mom and pop shops that closed down, but Walmart's still open. McDonald's was still open, right? So we have a supermajority in California that continues to paint the picture that they're fighting for you, that they hate major corporations. Walmart was thriving. Amazon was thriving. Costco was thriving. I love Costco.
Costco gets a pass.
Sponsor me. I'm so brainwashed by Costco that if Costco sells something, I'm buying it. I probably don't even need it, but I'm buying it. But it is true though, because all the small businesses, they couldn't afford to keep paying their rent. Their employees, who survived? Major corporations. So clearly you're not passing policy or legislation that is helping small businesses. You're hurting them. A lot of these people were never able to recover from everything that happened during COVID. So I think that's what changed the minds of a lot of individuals. It was COVID, because you really saw politicians like Gavin Newsom. He shut down your business, but he kept his open. His winery was open. He was sued for that too, because the wineries around there were like, how is that fair? They're surviving off of people coming in and taking tours and the weekend getaways. But they couldn't open. But Gavin Newsom, he was getting his check. He was telling you, you can't go out and see your dying grandmother. You shouldn't be around your family. And they caught him in Hawaii. They caught him out eating at restaurants. So we really saw this picture, this very clear picture, that these politicians that were telling you like, hey, we care about you, were doing the exact opposite of what they were telling you. And it was the working people that felt that the hard end of that.
And not one march. No kings.
No, we were focused on BLM. You couldn't go out without a medication card, without I wouldn't even know what to call it. An ID, vaccine card.
Your vaccine card.
You couldn't go out without your vaccine card to show. You couldn't go into like 2 or 3 years later when we did start to open up. You couldn't go out without your vaccine card. But God forbid they ask you for your license. You couldn't go visit your family. But where was the? You're right. Where was the No King protest when you had a politician telling you, "Hey, you can't go to your grandma's house."
And you can't have your business open, but I'm gonna keep mine open.
And you can't have your business open, but mine gets to stay open.
I think that small period woke a lot of people up. It made us and forced us to pay attention.
I think if it did wake up a lot of people, but there's still a lot of people that are missing the point, or maybe they're not seeing who to blame.
California hates small businesses, and it's the only way that I could put it. And it's kind of like, why do you think I try to help out as many small businesses as possible? I'll go to their place, I'll eat, I'll sit down, because
I need to focus more on that. No, that's smart.
You know what I'm saying? And I never go to a restaurant and say, hey, like, who'd you vote for?
To me, it doesn't matter because
it's irrelevant.
Right.
Because I know there's certain people out there targeting certain people for who they voted for. Dude, that shit needs to stop.
If I see somebody working hard, I want to help you and I want to be part of the process of that success, and I don't want to be the reason that you're dragged down. And then you see people targeting individuals, like targeting small businesses. I have a small business. I've grew up around so many hardworking people. They work 20-hour days, 7 days a week. I know how many of their children's milestones they missed as a sacrifice so that they can put food on the table. And now you're shutting them down because you don't agree with their policy. It's heartless.
Why do you think I do a lot of the things that I do for these businesses? I don't get paid. I don't ask them for a penny. I go and I do it out of the kindness of my heart. And I don't go asking you, did you vote for Harris? Because if you did, I don't want to eat here.
Right?
I do not care. Things that matter to me is good food, great service, and you're a good person. I'm going to sit down right here. And it don't have to be about politics. I don't care. Dame una birria, una pinche torta. Like, that's what I enjoy. Like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to show you so much love. Some of these people that are trying to villainize, probably is the right word.
I would say villainize, yeah.
These businesses because of who they voted for, because they voted for Trump. Like, you don't know what it is to open up a business, to have your blood, sweat, and tears, your money, your everything invested in there. Yeah. You have to pay a lease, all the stress.
It's a gamble.
It is, especially here in California.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
It's a gamble. So you don't know any of these. It's stressful at times, right? So these people don't know shit. I said, fuck. They don't know nothing about the hard work that it takes.
It's a lack of work ethic.
So it's like, come on, man. Like, you're going to just try to go and.
If I see a small business getting torn down, I don't care if they didn't vote the way I did. I want to go help because, like you said, I've seen the sacrifice that it takes for somebody to get to the point, even if it's a small business, to get to that point. And instead, we have people that are trying to make it harder. They're increasing taxes. Our payroll taxes just increased because Gavin Newsom defaulted on a loan. Who is it easier for them to eat up the cost? For Walmart, for McDonald's, not for the small business down the street that's barely cutting it. Like, a lot of these people that own small businesses, they're not working 8-hour shifts. They're working 16 hours a day to keep things running, and they're not getting paid. They're not getting the hourly minimum wage, right? It's a sacrifice they make because that's where they want to be. That's what they believe in. And somebody comes in and they think they have the moral high ground, and that's what bothers me so much. They think they're so much better because of their political ideology or their social ideology that they're willing to take away the ability for somebody to feed their family because that's what it is. That's how they put food on the table. You want to take away food that and something that they've worked for, something that they've built, something they've cried over, something that has taken everything for them, just because you don't like what they think. It's so and you think you're better than everybody else because you do that. And that's not part of Latino culture, because I've seen a lot of people try and use Latino culture as an excuse to do this. Yeah. They're like, oh, we're supposed to be for la raza. La raza? Like Latinos? we came here for the American dream, which was for the ability to have opportunities, because a lot of what we have here, which is what people don't understand, aren't the same type of economic opportunities that you would have in other countries. In other countries, you don't grow the way you can grow in this country. So the idea is to come here to work hard and to build something. And you want to say that it's for La Raza, that you're tearing down what people built. No, what we built, what a lot of our families came to do here is to follow the American dream, not to tear down people's hard work. You're doing the exact opposite, and you're using political ideology identity politics to destroy people's hard work.
And there's a sprinkle of hypocrisy. It's like, oh no, we're not going to support that business. You're against our people and this and that. But we're going to go to Dodger Stadium later and spend $700 on tickets. No mames, way. How? Like, okay, wait. So you're going to tear down this Mexican business that goes against what you say.
The small one.
Or the small one that is barely making it. So you're going to tear him down because you say it's going against what you believe in. But now you're going to go with a multi-billion-dollar one that is doing the exact thing that you're saying that you're against. But okay, we're going to go. So it don't apply to that one.
Tom Steyer.
Oh, so you're selective.
One of the leading gubernatorial candidates for the Democratic Party. He invested in a corporation that actually owns some of the largest ICE facilities in Southern California, up in Bakersfield.
You're talking about the guy that said, tax me more?
Oh, yeah. And then when they said, hey, you can pay more taxes, nobody is stopping you from paying more taxes, he said, that's not the point. It's not going to fix anything. So then clearly you're acknowledging that your plan isn't going to fix anything, and that you yourself as a billionaire don't want to pay more taxes because you can't. Nobody's stopping you.
He secretly voted for Trump. Huh?
I think he did. He was like, God, they better not raise my taxes. I guarantee you he voted for Trump. Because if it were true, if you truly believe that taxing billionaires more would fix everything, why aren't you handing over? Lead by example. Because why aren't you handing more of your money over? When I pay taxes, there's no limit to it, right? You can pay as much as you want to.
If he's not giving. Or is he?
But he's not, because he's not paying more.
Of course
and they
not.
asked him to pay more, and he
It sounds
said no.
good, though.
It does sound good. They're trying
just like the
billionaire tax.
Exactly. Just like the billionaire tax, right? It sounds good. Well, didn't we have income tax in 1913? That tax was for millionaires, right? Mm-hmm. Do you pay income tax? Because I do. You do. We all do.
If you work, you pay income tax.
So then it went from, we're only going to tax the millionaires,
we're only gonna tax the millionaires,
to everybody. Are we having it's a repeat of 1913 with this billionaire tax that they're painting this picture that's only for billionaires?
And it's only temporary. It's only supposed to be a one-time thing. But when has a tax ever been temporary? When did they implement the tax, and then like a 2 or 3 years?
I don't know. It's been over 100 years.
Right?
That's not. Yeah?
1913,
okay, cool.
yeah.
It started out. Yeah. So let's talk about the billionaire tax. And let's skip to page 26. What? Okay. You gotta enlighten me right here with some info when it comes to that, because it sounds good. Everybody wants to tax the billionaires, but I think it's just dressed up as it's for billionaires. But is it really?
Well, it's a domino effect too thing, right? So you want to tax billionaires 5% of their net worth. One, they probably don't even have 5% of their net worth in equity. So that would just cause a cascading effect of problems. Not everybody does have that money just in hand. Some people might, some people don't. Either way, we saw Elon Musk leave the state because of the taxes. What do they do when they leave the state? Because if they're going to tax them on their net worth or their assets that they have within California, what's the first thing they're going to do? It's probably cheaper for them to leave, because they know that this also isn't going to be a one-time thing, that they're going to continue this as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Right? They're going to extend it. So they're going to leave our state. What do they take with them? They take their jobs, which they create. So who's going to feel that the most? the working class, people who work. You're not going to have jobs in California the way we used to, because they're not going to want to pay that extra 5% just for existing. Mm-hmm. Right? So you have this whole cascading domino effect where this isn't just going to affect billionaires. If they leave, who are you going to tax? They take up most of the tax burden in California. So once the billionaires leave, they're going to have to increase the taxes on who else? Because the billionaires aren't here to tax. So who's gonna carry the burden of their taxes once they leave? You.
All of us.
So none of this is very, I don't know if it's thought through. Because,
well, a lot of the things seem like they're not thought through in California.
But what's scary, I never thought it would make it on the ballot. I never thought it was going to make it on the ballot. And what scares me is that when something gets put on the ballot, especially if it's a policy that's being pushed by a certain political party, it usually gets passed. Because people don't think about the long-term effects that it has. And it's terrifying to think, okay, if the people who are paying most of our taxes in California are leaving, how are we going to make up for that percentage of taxes that are being lost? What percentage of taxes do billionaires pay in California? I don't remember if it was like 30%. But 30% is a large chunk of numbers. California is already running at a $18 billion deficit. Mm-hmm. If we're running at an $18 billion deficit with the current taxes that we do have, how are we going to function with 30% less income?
That's a good question. Well,
and that's just
they're going to find a way.
And the way is not.
And the way is going to be us.
It's going and it's going to be towards people who work, because you can't tax people more who don't work. What are you going to do to them? They're not going to feel this, right? So that's what was scary to me in general. And then you have the clause where they can extend or change the legislation without a vote.
So it says top earners can get taxed up to 50% of their income in California.
But how much do the billionaires pay? Like what percentage?
Billionaires pay about 23 to 24%.
24%. So saying that's 24% of our income, of our tax income, is going to be lost in California. So that means that they're going to increase their taxes on the next income class, which is going to be millionaires. Mm-hmm. If you want a house in Los Angeles, you're a millionaire. There's no house that is you can't buy a house that's worth less than $700,000 anymore in downtown LA. In the worst parts of LA, you get a little 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom shack for $800,000 that was built in 1920 and comes with a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So it's a slippery slope. Is one, they can change the policy whenever they want to change it. So do you think that when those billionaires leave and they can't tax the billionaires anymore, now they don't even have to ask you? They don't have to put this on the ballot. They can just, hey, it's a necessity. So the next class is millionaires. And it sounds, oh yeah, they have a lot. But what happens when the millionaires leave, the multimillionaires leave? Because anybody worth above $20 million can up and leave whenever they want to, right? Because they have the financial ability to do it. Who's more limited?
The average Joes, like the middle class.
The middle class, anybody who works is going to have that problem where I can't just up and leave, but now I'm carrying the tax burden because everybody else has left. And we see it happen whenever they try to implement a wealth tax, is they just leave. You're going to...
At what point do they implement something where they're like, oh, you want to leave? Then we're going to tax you for that.
Well, in California, they wanted to during COVID, when there was a mass exodus of people, that Gavin Newsom wanted to charge them a certain amount to leave. That was deemed to be unconstitutional at the time, but I'm sure they're going to try and continue to pass legislation like that when they're not going to have anywhere else to pull funds from. We're seeing in New York, Zohan Mamdani's trying to do something similar where they want to penalize people for leaving because the tax burden is too much on the individuals, for individuals to want to stay there. So do you want a thriving economy? Give people a reason to come and live here, to come and work here. You want an economy that's failing, tax them until they can't be profitable. Nobody wants to work without getting paid. Nobody wants to work on purpose. So why are you creating an environment where if you work, you're penalized for it? I met a guy at a park, he was an older gentleman, who told me he used to work 2 jobs. At the end of that year, once he paid taxes, he dropped that job, because he realized, I'm paying more in taxes now. I have less time to myself. I'm missing milestones with my children. And I have a lot I have a lot less. Like I'm working to give the government more of my income to the point where it's not even worth working 2 jobs. Like I'm keeping almost none of my money anymore because he changed tax class to having 2 jobs, right? Mm-hmm. So now this man's being punished for working 2 jobs. He's not lazy. He's not the problem. It's the institution that is punishing him for working 2 jobs. And it's a punishment when a lot of the time that you're working is for the government. And it's like, are our tax dollars used efficiently? It'd be different if our tax dollars weren't.
You're partnering with the state. It's like you're going to work, but we're going to take half of your income.
The way I like to explain it to people is if you're making more in California, and especially in LA, you have to make a certain amount to survive, right? There was a study that came out that said that if you have a family, you're making less than $100,000, you're considered as living under the poverty line because it costs so much to live in LA. So
I believe it.
Right? So if you're making $100,000 a year, the first 4 hours of every working day, they go to the government. Every single day. Half a day.
Put it like that, Araceli. That sounds horrible.
It does.
Damn.
But that's what it is.
And it's the truth.
And if you have to put it into perspective, because you're like, oh, okay, maybe people don't mind paying taxes, but then when you realize that you can be making the same amount of money if the government was just more, you can work the same amount of time, make the same amount of money, but take a little bit more home with you. If the government was just more efficient with the way that they use the funds, they wouldn't have to tax us more if they knew where those $22 billion went for the homeless crisis, for the pandemic that got worse. Because it used to be just Skid Row. I was talking to somebody earlier today. It used to be just Skid Row, and now it's grown. Now it's all of LA. It's all of LA. You can go down any little street, you'll see it packed with RVs, and it's coming this way. And it's because do we keep enabling their behavior? It's like, oh, you're an evil person because, like, how are they bothering you? It's not that. One, if we continue to let them live in that state, are we enabling the behavior that's led them there, right? Because if they're going to continue to hurt themselves, but not just that. They're in front of small businesses who can't function. I've talked to so many people in LA who have small businesses and people don't come near them because who wants to drive through a homeless encampment to buy something from you? These are families and businesses that have been here for years that are now being hurt over people who don't want to work because that's what it is. They're shooting up. They're making drugs in there. There's problems in LA where like RVs will light up on fire because they're stealing electricity from the building. So now some of the buildings, like there's a chance that building can now catch on fire too because people want to live outside of your building. So it seems like the behavior that we keep enabling in California that we dress up as empathetic is hurting working people more than anybody.
Well, the big question is why? Why do we keep doing this?
Because nobody wants to seem like a bad person. Oh, you get the homeless people off the street, but where do they go? So that's the thing. They make you seem like an evil person for wanting people off the streets. But it's like I didn't make that choice for them. I used to be a leftist, and it's extremely embarrassing. But I was like I was a radical
like a
feminist.
real leftist, like a.
I almost dyed my hair blue.
Like I'm gonna get a piercing.
Not that leftist. I had good parents. They would have. I had good parents. They never would have let me get the septum piercing. I think my dad said something around like, do you know who does that? Like farmers do that with their cows so that they can put a brand on there so that you know who you belong to. And that kind of led me thinking, I was like, oh, shoot. Because you see somebody with a septum piercing and you know exactly where they stand, right? Yeah. So that thought process opened up my mind a lot.
That's good for your parents. Parents didn't let you get no piercings or no weird shit like that.
This is good parenting because God knows where I would be if I had parents that let me, that just let you do whatever you want.
Do you want me to tell you a story?
Like it. Go ahead, yeah.
I don't think I ever told you this. I got piercings. I got my ears pierced in high school behind my parents' back. So I just show up to the house because it was back in the 90s, right? Like, oh, I'm going to get my ears pierced. Cool. Bro. I show up to we're having dinner because, we had dinner together. And I didn't tell nobody, so... Of course, you're gonna be able to tell.
You can.
Duh, right? But I was trying to be low key.
Wait. Before I judge you more, was it the studs with the little like fake diamond in the middle?
Nah, it was probably like a fake ass Cuban zirconium or something like that.
Oh, so you had like the shiny like.
It was they were just regular ones. Like they were in back then. I'm way older than you. So then I'm eating, and my dad gets home from work, and they serve him his plate because that's what my mom did.
Yeah.
He sits down and we're eating, and then he does the. It's a rat, dog. I don't even want to say because DPSS might get him. Bro, he's like, hijo de tu puta madre. ¿Qué es eso en los oídos? I'm like, pues mis aretes, opo. Eres una vieja, hijo de tu puta madre. And I'm like, no. And then he's like, te los quitas ahorita o te meto unos putazos. So my earring story lasted 24 hours. I took them off.
Did it last 24 hours, or was it like you got home from school? And
I got home from school. It was less than 24 hours. I got home from school. I enjoyed them. And then my dad beat the shit out of me, and he was like, ahora sí, cabrón. And never again.
Did you at least take a picture with them?
No, back then we didn't really have.
Were you at least cool in
like,
school there?
Nah, I think no, because I didn't get to go to school. I think I got them after school.
Oh.
So then everybody's like, hey, fool, I thought you got your spirit. Like, yeah, fool, but I have a good dad. Like, I have a good dad that doesn't allow that shit, dog. He beat the shit out of me. Anyways, yeah, I
used to hate how strict my parents were, and then now that I'm older, I've come to appreciate it a lot.
Absolutely.
Right? Those small details as a kid, you're just like, oh, they're too strict. What for? And now you're as an adult, you're like, no,
Makes sense.
Yeah, right. Like
everything makes sense.
Everything makes sense. So I do think it's a suicidal empathy thing where we care about the homeless people more than the working people on the other side of the building that are getting hurt and they're having their businesses and everything affected. Like that is, if that's how you put food on the plate for your family, it's now harder for you to put food on your plate with your family because the guy on the other side doesn't want to work. He wants to shoot up all day and he wants to drink all day. And the more we let them stay there, the more they hurt themselves too.
But it seems like they encourage this type of behavior.
Well, yeah, when you spend $10 million providing alcohol to alcoholics, that's a real program that we had in Los Angeles, by the way.
Stop. You mean to tell me that there's a different program than the one that provided needles?
Yeah, for them? $50 million for needles, $10 million for alcoholics.
Stop.
And if you think about it, the amount of people that can't afford the diabetes medication, their insulin, but we're out here giving needles to the homeless and alcohol to alcoholics. That's enabling their behavior. It's not helping them at all. We're putting them in situations where they can continue their bad habits that are preventing them from getting out of the lifestyle that they currently have right now.
Okay. Where do you see California in 5 years?
If it continues the way it is.
If it continues the way it is.
We're going to see the homeless problem go into the suburbs. Because like I said, it used to be Skid Row. It used to be the area you would avoid driving down. Now you can't avoid driving down it at all because it's the entirety of LA. It's on the outskirts of LA towards some of the smaller suburbs. And the more we continue this, the more that is going to, those encampments are going to crawl into the suburbs, like the smaller cities, right? And that affects all of the working class families because they live there. It's like Figueroa Street, right? Like you have women that are basically naked selling themselves in front of children and families, and we haven't shut this down for years because Figueroa has been a thing ever since I could remember. So why are we exposing children to this when we can stop them? Why are we putting families in situations where this is what they're seeing on a daily basis, and it's only going to get worse? Okay, so we are $18 billion in running at an $18 billion deficit in California, providing useless programs that don't actually help people who want to help themselves right now. We're seeing them wanting to create more and more senseless programs, but in a perfect world, these programs don't cost money, and yeah, we want to help everybody. But in the real world, where everybody who works lives, those problems and those programs, they're funded by who? By you. And if it'll go from you working 4 hours a day every day for the government to working 5 hours a day every day for the government, and you're working 3 for yourself. And that's assuming you work 8 hours, but I don't know anybody in LA who only works 8 hours. Not anybody with a family is working. They're working
2
long
jobs.
hours. They're working 2 jobs. They're working long hours. So the more we continue down this path, the more you're going to work for the institution, for the government. The more the government is going to continue to misspend all of your funds because we're not holding them accountable. $22 billion. If I lost $22 billion at work, well, I work for myself. But if you had a job where you lost $22 billion, you'd get fired. If you had a job where you lost $1,000, you'd get fired. Mm-hmm. So why do we continue to put the same people losing our money, not answering for it, back in the same positions and pretending like that's not a problem? Like, I don't care if you're voting in a Democrat, at least make sure it's somebody who's going to be responsible for your funds. We cannot continue to create programs that we can't afford right now because that's what the biggest issue. It is an affordability issue. It's a spending issue. Government expenditure has increased 75% in California since Gavin Newsom took office. Before he took office, we were running at a $6 billion surplus. After he took office, towards the end, because he's 2 years away from maxing out, we're $15 billion, we're $18 billion in a deficit. Give him 2 more years. Where are we going to be in 2 years? And again, it comes full circle because you guys are paying for it. Everybody's paying for it. So this isn't an empathy problem. It is literally just they're not spending our money right. They can't tell you where it is. Our state capital is costing $2 billion to remodel. Why is our state capital costing $2 billion to remodel? Even the White House ballroom is $200-300 million. And then the people working at the state capitol have to sign an NDA. So not only is this an expensive project funded by taxpayers, but the taxpayers don't get to find out what companies are working for them. And then the more you look into the government, the worse it is, and the more depressed you become. And you're like, okay, but we keep giving these people these jobs. Is it that why did they sign an NDA? Is it who are these companies? Is it that they're siphoning off money to companies that are family, friends, and they're going to get a kickback after?
Oh,
it would be
yes.
cheaper. How much, if they're spending $2 billion and a politician is getting maybe $10 or $15 million kickback from spending $2 billion in government funds, it would literally be cheaper to have politicians rob us directly than the direction that they're taking now. Not that I'm also encouraging that. I'm really not. I'm just saying, from a practical sense, every single taxpayer in California is being robbed blind, and we keep looking the other way.
You know how, when I was growing up, we would always be like, oh, la corrupción en México. Feísimo.
Well, la corrupción
aquí, they're just low-key about it.
They're low-key about it. They wear suits. Because they wear suits back there too.
They wear suits, yeah. But they have other people. Well, and you know, and here it's like, they'll do all this damage with this pin.
That's a lot. That's. I'm not sure if that's a flex. It's a flex.
It's like you could do all that with all that other stuff you got going there. Me, I'm gonna screw you with this pin.
But you know what one of the things that I dislike that is coming from the Latino community, especially from people from Mexico who come here, and then when somebody gets murdered or we see the Trump assassination attempts, they're disappointed that Trump didn't die, or they're celebrating the assassination attempts. This is not a blanket statement. This is for the people this applies to, by the way. But to the individuals that do celebrate the political violence, isn't that what you fled from? That is 90% of the reason why you guys came to this country. So why are you creating and enabling the same behaviors that made you leave your last country? The reason why you can understand that it's dangerous, but you want the same things to happen here because it benefits you right now. But what about when it doesn't benefit you? What about when you're on the receiving end? So some people are trying to create the same cultures and behaviors that ruined the country they fled from. And it's not everybody. It really is a small minority, but that small minority is being really loud on social media too.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but there's a lot of hypocrisy going on now. I think that's the new normal too. Who do you think is the best option for governor for California?
Right now, I see 2 sensible options for governors because I've listened to the gubernatorial debates. Like I said, I really don't care about political party. If you are somebody who is proposing plans, legislations to fix California, then I would vote for you regardless of party. But what I'm seeing is there's two sensible options. The Democrats are trying to create more programs to try and solve like when it came to the homelessness crisis, and they asked him, hey, do you think Gavin Newsom failed? And nobody on stage gave him lower than a B- that was a Democrat.
They lost me there.
They lost me there too, right? It's like, okay, if you cannot acknowledge that we have a problem, you can't fix a problem. If you're too scared to stand up to your political party and admit, hey, maybe you guys were wrong about at least one thing that we can all see is a problem, then those problems are going to continue. You don't have a spine. You don't have a backbone. Why should we elect you for governor? Like True. Becerra gave him an A+. Have you ever been to LA? I would love to see him in downtown LA. You should contact him for an interview, but do it on the outskirts of LA where it's still really bad, right? How do you give someone an A+ for effort?
I brought that up.
MacArthur.
God, I went off. that day. I'm like, man, this guy's insane.
I hated how the media covered MacArthur Park, because they made it seem like they were raiding a park that was filled with families and children. I was like, you've never been there before.
Well, the mayor did.
That's the mayor, right?
The mayor said, this is a family park.
It's a safe place.
See, when you try to gaslight people, that bothers me.
But some people buy it. Because that was national news. That's the problem. People outside of California are
I'm a big dude. I'm 6'1". Like, I don't even feel safe going there. Like, I would be like, I don't have to fight like 10 crackheads right now. Like,
that's the thing.
Like, this is crazy.
They're strong. I went down there to prove a point. I don't feel safe. I can't go into a park like that because, like, right at the entrance, you have a ton of people. Some of them are strung out to the point where they look like zombies. There was not a single child in sight. The park is dirty because of who lives there. And you're out here telling people, oh, it's families and children that you went after. Someone's abuelita is not out there either. She doesn't feel safe walking through that park.
At all.
And then the fact that they're treating us like idiots, like we don't know what's going on.
Oh, you want to know what my exact words were? After that, I did a solo podcast. I said, they're treating us like we're stupid.
Yeah.
Was my exact word.
But people buy it.
How could you buy this? Like,
that's why I'm more curious now, because I'm like, I walked into that park, and that was after it had been cleaned up. And it was still really bad. It was full of people that were drinking or on drugs. Nobody's taking their children there. So if you've ever driven by there, you know it's not a safe place to even walk through. Mm-hmm. So why would you buy that? It's the people that have never gone to those areas. It's the people who are like, oh yeah, it's a park. So they're living on the nice side where they're thinking, mm-hmm. oh, it's like the park down the street where it's filled with families and nannies and, mm-hmm. and people's grandmas. Like, no, you guys are fighting for policy, because at that point it would be policy and the way policy is implemented. When you don't understand how it affects the people around there that are living around there, that, you know, the people living in the apartments next to the park that can't go down to the park, that don't feel safe walking in their neighborhood. You want that to continue because you want to seem like a good person online, or you want to seem like a good person, but are you a good person if what you're encouraging means that somebody can't walk through their neighborhood safely? We see that with the term over-policing. When I've talked to people who think that certain areas of California or of Los Angeles are over-policed, and the problem is that they're over-policed. I grew up in an area in like East LA, basically, mm-hmm. where it was filled with gang violence. And yeah, the gang violence was usually towards themselves, but we would be sitting there and then all of a sudden we'd hear gunshots, mm-hmm. and people would get killed there all the time. Usually people involved in the gang life, but like you have strays and sometimes people get hit. Police won't even at the time, police wouldn't even be able to show up until usually after the shooting was over. So but you're telling me that I live there that I grew up there. You're telling me that the problem was over policing and not the people involved in the gang life?
It's insane. Insanity.
And how is taking away police how is minimizing police in that area going to fix the problem? It's not. It's going to make it worse because now these individuals know that, hey, I can rob a house because there's not enough police officers. So what you're doing is you're hurting the people that live there because you don't live there. So you're so focused on looking like a good person that you're not thinking through how your policies affect the actual people that live in these areas.
And everything you just said right now. And then it's like, you know what? I got the solution. Let's defund the police.
Yes. Because
it's like I wish I was making this up, right? Like, this is kind of comical once you see it.
It sounds like a South Park episode.
And it's like you see, unfortunately, people, there's a lot of things going out there and, but it's kind of comical.
It is. The response is comical. Yeah. Gangs are shooting up places. People are breaking into your house. But the problem isn't them. It's the police. We need to stop the police because if they are not there to report it, the crime doesn't exist.
I'm sure you're enjoying this dope-ass episode. I mean, you made it this far, so you might as well hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Now, let's get back to the episode, baby.
Who would support these policies? Only the people that don't live in these areas, that live in the nicer areas, that they don't have to worry about this. That's why you have politicians that use police officers to protect them at events, which is so hypocritical. And then they're going on talking about defund the police. But you're using the police. And at the same time, they want to take away your Second Amendment rights. So now not only can you not call the police, but you also don't have a real way to defend yourself. But you think the guy that's breaking into your house doesn't have a gun? You think he's following the law after he broke into your house to try and steal stuff from you?
This is really for those of you that are not, because we have a lot of people that are not in California. This is something that we got to deal with on a day-to-day basis here.
And Spencer Pratt just pointed out she lives in a multi-million-dollar neighborhood, so that's why she's not worried about police.
Of course not.
But she travels with police. She travels
with private security.
She has security.
Off-duty police.
She probably does. But God forbid you protect your family. God forbid you be able to call the police to protect your family. It really does sound comical.
There's too much double standards, right? Like you don't do it, but I'll do it. No kings.
No kings. That's what makes me angry about the No Kings protest. I'm like, there's a lot of issues. I really don't care if you protest as long as it's not violent. But like, you bring up certain things, especially what we saw during COVID. They shut down churches. The church community, and that's what bothers me so much because they're like, oh, we shouldn't get involved in politics. Oh, but they got involved with you. They didn't mind shutting you down while they were rioting and destroying businesses outside, but you were the problem. You praying? No, you guys can't do that anymore. You guys can't congregate. But they didn't stop BLM from tearing down and causing, $2 billion in damages? So...
yeah, this is really happening.
this is the problem with California. It's empathy.
So, in a perfect world, Spencer Pratt becomes the mayor of LA.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to see as the governor?
I either want to see Bianco or Hilton. I think both of them are more than capable of helping fix California. But choosing a good governor alone isn't going to do anything if the supermajority continues to control the House in California. So you need to break the supermajority. You need to make sure that Steve or Bianco or whoever, if we do get a good candidate for governor, we need to make sure that they can actually pass legislation that needs to be passed, because we still have an assembly and a state senate in California. I don't think a lot of people know. Mm-hmm. And right now, for the last few years, Democrats have been controlling the supermajority. And what we've seen is what we have now. So we need a balance. And I truly believe that we need a balance of both. I don't think having extremism on either side is healthy. I think there always needs to be multiple sides to a conversation. But we have seen what the supermajority has done in California. Is your life better? Probably not. Your tax list has increased.
We pay a lot.
Yeah, every few years we see a gas tax increase, and right now that's not enough. They forced you to buy an EV, but because they pushed the EV mandate so much, now they're not getting what they should in gas taxes, so they want to add a mileage tax. And they tried to pass an amendment. A Republican in the Assembly tried to pass an amendment to make sure that they wouldn't compound those and they wouldn't add on the mileage tax to the gas tax, and they refused to pass that amendment, meaning that their goal is to pass and to make sure that they can not only tax you per gas mileage, they want to be able to tax you for every gallon of gas you buy, and on top of that for every mile that you drive. So if you drive a gas vehicle, you're going to be paying double the tax. So it's one of those things where we continue to see them push that EV mandate as well. We don't even have the infrastructure for an EV. I had an EV. If you follow me on Instagram, you know exactly how much trouble that EV gave me. I was stranded all the goddamn time.
Why? Because it would run out of juice?
It would turn off on me while I was driving. So I was driving in the freeway at like 12 a.m. one day. And it just I was going through there was a fork in the road, just going off in two ways on the highway. And I just get a little notification that says, pull over right now, vehicle will turn off. And I was like, what the heck? And the only thing I got to do was get into the middle of the intersection, which is extremely dangerous because any drunk driver not paying attention, they're going to ram into you at 12 a.m. in the morning. And then everything turned off. Everything. When an EV turns off, you can't even put it in neutral. You can't open the doors. You can't open the windows. So you're kind of just stuck.
You were stuck in the middle of the freeway.
Yes. In the middle of the night. The lights weren't working, so nobody knew I was there.
Oh my God.
It takes 2 tow trucks to be able to tow an EV because you can't put it in neutral when it's dead like that. Mind you, that happened to me four times. And I really liked the car, I liked the way it drove. That's why I kept it for so long, but it's not worth it. And not just that, the infrastructure to charge it. So to charge an EV that wasn't a Tesla, because Tesla has the best charging infrastructure in the state, you would have to use Electrify America or EVgo or something like that. They only have 2 to 3 chargers per station, and you're going to get lucky if you find maybe 2 in the same city. So when there's 2 to 3 chargers per station and there's a bunch of electric cars, you're waiting 2 hours to get access to an to a charger. So who has time to be sitting around for 2 to 3 hours every time? People are charge it at home. Yeah, but I drive. So I can't leave the city basically. So if you're somebody who never leaves the city, yeah, go ahead and get an EV. But if you drive everywhere, you can't, you're going to run out of juice eventually. So you're going to have to charge it on the way home. And so we don't have the infrastructure for EVs yet. And yet even with this mileage tax, we're going to see it as a penalty for anybody who drives a gas vehicle, because now you're getting taxed by the mile and per gallon of gas that you buy. And who's this? So
we're paying a lot. Is that what you're telling me? It's going to be a whole lot.
And how many people commute to work? The thing is, in Los Angeles, we have a large population of commuters. So now, again, you're increasing what you're paying. You're working more so that you can pay more to the government. So this is going to be a huge tax on commuters. And a lot of people live outside of the LA area that work in LA, because LA is not just unaffordable, but what you can buy in LA, you can get a really nice house for your kids an hour out, right? So that's who it's going to affect. It's going to affect the working populations.
As they move out, but they're still driving over here to work.
Yeah. It's criminal.
How are they going to calculate? Are you just supposed to tell them how many miles, or they're going to have something that keeps track of your miles?
I'm assuming it's the same. I don't know.
Because that's the scary part, the tracking part.
Well,
so that means that there's something in your phone, something. That's scary.
Though, I mean, we also see them want to implement at a federal level a kill switch on cars, right? Or I don't know if it's at a federal level or at a state level. So they want to put technology in your car where if you've had one drink, you can't your car won't turn on. Meaning that if they have that technology to see if you've drank, they're going to have the technology and the accessibility to your vehicle that you bought, but it's not yours because the government can turn it off whenever they want to. So I think they definitely have the programs or an idea of how they're going to implement them, and it's definitely government overreach, because why should the government have access to a car that you bought? Is it yours? And if and if they want access to it, then why aren't they paying for my car? But like, I don't want them to pay for my car. I just don't want them in. I want to own
I need
something.
you to be not involved.
Yeah, I just need you to be not involved.
As much in my life.
That's what I'm asking for. Like, it's easier if you're just not involved.
Yeah.
At what point do we risk safety for our freedom? Because we're giving up so much of our freedom for an illusion of safety, but is it really safety? No, and it's like the thing is that once you start talking about for me it was the taxes because I'm an accountant. So once you start going down that rabbit hole, it's people's time. Time translates.
You're an accountant?
Yeah.
Damn. So you deal with numbers all day?
All day. So
really,
once you start realizing, and then you translate that, you put it in perspective, because a lot of people don't like the whole thing where I was saying like 4 hours of every day that most people work is for taxes. You put that into perspective, it really gets you thinking, hey, this isn't right. Especially when you start seeing the fraud that's going on in the government, like the misspending. We have $8 billion for a train that never got built, $22 billion on a homeless crisis that only got worse. $10 million for an alcoholics program, $50 million for needles. We're spending billions of dollars on a nature bridge. I don't even understand the concept of that. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, fuck.
It gets you frustrated.
She's not even making this shit up.
$2 billion for a state capitol building. Like our White House ballroom cost $300 million. How is remodeling a state capitol building? We're not buying any property. Why is that costing $2 billion? It is simple, basic math, but you put that into perspective. Why am I working so much for politicians and for a government that doesn't care about you, that is only punishing you for working more? How many hours of the day would you be able to spend more with your children? And I'm not like, it's the worst part is, I don't want to make many more welfare programs. I'm not promising you anything that you haven't worked for. For what it really should be is a bigger slice of the pie that you've already worked for. Instead of the government getting half, why aren't you keeping more of your own money when if we can have $22 billion go missing without the government being able to explain to us where it went, why shouldn't you be able to keep more of your own money?
I agree with that. I approve that message.
Or if you're going to do a second job, like, why doesn't the government be like, all right, we'll tax you less to incentivize people to work?
Yeah.
Or instead of like, oh, we're going to help you out. Like, that's a big
Why is the solution always tax you more?
It's the easiest solution
because we let them.
We let them. We let them. We're like, oh, it's just because it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's just a little bit more here and a little bit more there. And then we don't realize how much of it adds up to the point where, again, you're working half of your days for the government. And that's almost anybody who makes any kind of of livable wage. Half of the day you're working for the government. Is
that why you made an announcement yesterday?
That is why I'm running for state senate in California, District 30. Because it's where legislation gets passed. I had never thought about running for office. I honestly don't like the idea of politics. I'm not a social person. I'm not a social person. There are people that I can talk to, like-minded individuals, but I'm not good at being social. So for me, it had never crossed my mind, nor was something that I wanted to do. But I grew up around so many hardworking people, so many people that work 20-hour days, 7 days a week, watch them build businesses. Now I'm watching people tear their businesses down over a political disagreement. I'm watching them miss their children's events and time with their children, miss watching their children grow up. For what? For the government to go ahead and not appreciate that these are working people, not appreciate their sacrifices, and go and throw away their money like it's nothing. And it makes you angry when you think about it, makes you angry when you see what the real life effects of negligence is with our government. Nobody wants to fix the problem. When I was watching the gubernatorial debate, half of them wanted to continue to make more programs. They didn't even acknowledge that we had a spending problem. If we have a spending problem, why is your solution to continue to create welfare programs, or not welfare programs, but programs that are going to cost us money? The solution, who's going to fund it? More taxes.
That was the biggest turnoff.
Yes.
Of that debate. That nobody really addressed the actual issue. Everybody's like, more taxes.
More taxes.
And Trump. Trigger word. Trump. They used it a couple times.
We need to fight Trump. What does that mean?
Wait, what?
That's what it was like. Trump in California, even Trump kind of ignores California because we're our own problem.
Thank you for saying that. I said that, and Anyways,
when have you? The only
I'm like, okay, I'm not worried about Trump, and that's why I changed. Like, I'm like, okay, we're not worried about Trump. Didn't Gavin Newsom say that he was going to make California Trump-proof? Well, even if we have a Republican president, this is a blue state to the core.
Yes.
So, yeah, we got our own problems.
They blamed Trump when our gas went up for $1 when we went into Iran, when that started. Mm-hmm. We don't buy oil from Iran, right? So, yeah, we're seeing the after effects of the war, which is basically just companies bringing up their prices because they can, because now oil is, because one supplier got cut off, the demand is greater, but we don't buy our oil from Iran. But the real issue in California more than anything is that on the same street in Nevada, the border, gas is almost $6-7 a gallon, and then you cross the state border of Nevada and it's now $3 and something. So
same thing with Arizona, right?
Yes, it's the same thing.
But it's just there. But it's a different state.
Why do we have the highest gas in the entire country and you want to blame Trump? Like, I don't need you to like the man. I don't need you to agree with what he's saying. But if we can see that across the street, and the only thing that's changed is the state, why are we blaming Trump for a problem that has nothing to do with him? We're paying $1.50 on just gas alone. That's not including the special blend of oil or the special blend of gas that we use in California. The refined gas, you can't just get gas from anywhere. It needs to be refined and processed in a specific way depending on the climate. So if it's summer and winter, we're using a different oil blend. And on top of that, you have the gas prices and everything. And on top of that, you have the red tape that is making it harder for refineries to continue to do business in California, to continue to function. So when we have 2 refineries closing down in 1 year, we can't buy oil from just anywhere. How's the problem Trump?
Well, hopefully they hear it from somebody different, because I say the same thing. And then, okay, well.
I've been yelling this for 2 years, and I have the same thing. I'm like, guys, I need you to stop blaming Trump, because if we keep blaming Trump for problems that he's not causing, we're never going to fix the real problem. It's just going to get worse. Yeah, your gas taxes keep increasing, but are the roads fixed? Because I know they're not.
Of course not.
There's potholes everywhere. And you're paying the tax for it, and now they want to increase it more for what? Do you know what part of that money went to? To that train that never got built.
Okay. They hold us accountable, right? Like when we don't pay our taxes.
Yes.
All right. Like, why are we not holding these politicians accountable for the mismanagement of this money that nobody knows where this money went?
Because people.
How?
Because they use it's emotional manipulation. Every ad during even the Prop 50. What was it in Spanish? Did you ever hear the Spanish ads?
No, but I heard the English ones were like, "We need to stop." Guess who?
Trump.
Trump.
In Spanish, it was the same thing. Stick it to Trump in Spanish. And I was like, but it's California. He's not even in here. And he stays out of it because he's like, he knows it's such a deep blue state. They're not messing with us. So what is it? It's people that are so they're being emotionally used and blaming Trump because of how great Democrats are at pushing propaganda. I don't need you to be a Republican. At least make the Democratic Party responsible for what they've done in the last few years. Force them to change their policy. They're telling you that they're anti-corporation, and they go and they pass legislation and they push policy that is closing down small businesses. So are you pro small businesses? Are you for the people and are you against major corporations when all you do benefits major corporations, when your biggest backers are major corporations, when even one of the leading candidates that you have for governor is a billionaire? And I that just seems to go against everything that you're telling me that you believe in. So if California is such a deep blue state, we need Democrats to start holding their own political party accountable as well. They're not representing what you believe in anymore. If you as a person, you're a Democrat, and you believe that, hey, I want policy that isn't going to keep destroying small businesses in California, that isn't going to be taxing me to the point where there's just no point in working, then why do you continue to support people who are passing the legislation that you're against? And all because they hide it behind pretty words. And stick it to Trump. Because the Prop 50 ones were just stick it to Trump.
That's a trigger word. I think that's the biggest trigger
But we need to grow up. I think society needs to grow up. If Trump gets you angry to the point where you can't think, maybe it's time to like take a step back and think about your life. I want to be nice because that's really what it is, right? In California, we can't blame Trump. So why are we blaming Trump in California? In California, we have our own problems. Republicans in California are not the same thing as Republicans in in other conservative states. Republicans in California are very much a little bit more liberal or progressive than in other states. We're not fighting the same battles at a federal level than we are at a state level. But I think people just need to educate themselves more on what the consequences of the legislation and the policy that they've been supporting has done to California. And until people do that, we're going to continue with the same cycle of unaffordability in this state.
And that's a big issue.
It's a big issue. People are making $200,000 and can barely afford to buy a house in California.
That's insanity.
Right?
A 2-bedroom, 1-bath, $800,000 in Compton.
It can cost up to $150,000 to get permits to build a house in California, and in Texas, I think like it's the max you're gonna be paying is $5,000. It's anywhere from $900 to $5,000. So clearly, it's a state problem. We're paying for bureaucracy. Why are we paying for bureaucracy? Why do you have to see over 10 government buildings to build a house? All of that costs money. All of that costs time, and all of that means that you have to make a whole lot more to afford a house. You're creating a barrier of entry for homeowners that is extremely unnecessary. We created this affordability crisis. It's a man-made issue. Mm-hmm. California is beautiful, but what we're fighting is our man-made issues, which is a good thing because it means that we can change it. It means that we can fix it.
And I hope so, because I don't plan on going nowhere.
Oh, me either. That's why I'm running.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm planning on staying here forever.
That's why I'm running, because I've talked to so many people in California who they tell me, I want to leave the state in 5 years. You ask them why, and they love the state. They've been raised here their whole lives. They don't want to leave. They leave because it's extremely unaffordable, because it's just not profitable anymore, not the way that it used to. And again, all man-made issues. So if they're man-made, why don't we fix the state instead of having to leave it? Because I never want to leave the state.
No,
I have hope in California. I think it can change, especially now. People are so fed up with everything that's going on.
And that's why I keep on pushing the truth.
Because it's necessary. People need to know they're not alone. Because
you know how many DMs I get? Like, bro, yes, keep on.
Keep on going.
Keep on, because I can't say. That kind of bothers me, though.
That they can't say it?
Yeah. But I understand.
I've had doctors, lawyers, people, professionals tell me the same thing. They're like, I love what you do, but I can't even like a post because I'll get reported. I can lose everything that I've worked for.
How did we get there, though?
It's so sad.
I know some really,
they can't say anything.
People up there that send me some messages like, bro, keep it up. And like, I wish I could, but I can't.
We're at a point
like, what?
Where you can lose everything as an extremely successful person who's worked for everything that you have, but you can lose everything over wanting a better California.
How do we get to this place?
Because people were so silent because we let it happen for so long. When people first started getting fired over jobs, instead of being like, hey, no, this is wrong, everybody was kind of like just taking a step back so that they wouldn't take the hit. Mm-hmm. And to the point where it got normalized, and then it evolved into violence because now you're dehumanized. If you want to keep more of the own money that you worked for, you're selfish.
Like, how dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you want to keep your own money? That's insanity. We need more syringes out there. This is kind of crazy, isn't it?
We're seeing cut and dry hospice fraud. right? Which means that the government was negligent, which means that this is not the only program. So why are people so emotionally charged where they're not even pushing for an audit? At some point, we should hold politicians accountable too.
Yeah.
Because it's people's lives. It's stuff they worked for. It's time you gave up. It's not just money. I guess it's because you're not personally working for it. I guess maybe they don't feel as responsible for it, but they should be.
And the fact that what is it, AB 20, the Nick Shirley.
The Nick Shirley Act. How do we fix fraud in California? I got it. We make it illegal for you to find it. We make it illegal for you to talk about it. That's how you fix fraud in California. You're shoving it under the rug so that nobody sees it happening.
Make that make sense. That's California.
It makes you so
Welcome
angry.
to California.
Yes, because when you're talking about it and you're talking to other people that are out of state, you're like, no, this is real. Like this is how we're fighting it. What was he doing? He was exposing them because a lot of the politicians that co-authored or supported the bill, they didn't even know they were on there. He asked them, hey, let me ask you about this bill. And they're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't make sense.
Isn't this your name on here? Oh, it is? Oh, wow. So who's really running the show?
Who exactly? There's somebody pulling the string saying, hey, you have to sign this. And they're not even asking questions. These are the people that are supposed to represent you that don't even know the laws that they're passing that are going to affect you and your everyday life.
So what you're telling me is that we need you in office.
We need me in office.
Okay.
I'm really loud and I love a problem, so I love to stand up to people.
Good. We need that.
We need a direct line.
And we need that because I love California. And I don't want to leave. Ever. But we need more people like you. More people. I mean, I don't know if I would ever run for... Not now. But eventually. I probably will. Yeah. Because there has to be a change.
For me, it's kind of like I want to have kids eventually, but if you can't afford to put them in private school, you're putting them in public school. And if you don't feel safe having your kids in public school, that means that we need a change. And the people in office aren't willing to stand up to what's happening right now.
I have 2 kids in private school.
That's
not cheap.
I know that's not cheap. That's not cheap.
I'm like, damn! Like, this is another mortgage right here. Like,
exactly.
And just because I love my kids, I want the best for them. So,
exactly.
But I understand what you're saying. That okay, that's not. It's a lot.
It's a lot, and I was like, I wasn't seeing anybody else, not in my district, that could step up to try and make that happen. So if nobody's doing it, then I have to, because I want to see the change in California.
Araceli to the rescue! Hell yeah, girl!
I really had never intended to be a politician. I don't, like I said, I'm not a social person. I'm not, but it needs to happen, and we need that change.
I never ever thought that I would consider certain,
But you get so fed up.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, like if I start seeing certain things in my city that I don't like, I'm gonna have to do it. I already spoke to my wife, and she's like, but like right now? I'm like, no. When it gets there, I'm like, all right.
And also, it's harder when you have
the cape.
It's harder when you have a family, because then that your children, everybody's at risk. Like even me with what I do now, you talk about politics and people get so emotionally charged and so emotionally reactive that they start threatening.
Well, that's why you gotta come train with me.
Yeah. Oh, that's some.
Remember, I told you before this, like the first time I met you.
Yes.
Like you need to be able to, people are just too emotionally involved, and it's like it's not even that serious, bro. Like relax. Like
they'll go out. They'll try to. I have been very private for a long time because anybody associated with me gets. The bad end of it. Like I've gotten used to it. Threats, I get those on a daily. It's kind of like something you brush off. But when you have, I don't know if like when you have kids and a wife, it's a whole different story.
I'm really private with my personal.
It's important.
Oh, yeah. Even my sister, I'm like, don't be posting me, girl.
No, that's what I tell my family.
I be telling her.
That's what I tell my family. I'm like, you guys don't want a picture with me? I'm telling you this for your safety. It's like, I don't want to drag you down.
You know, and I'm like, but it sucks that it has to be there. It sucks that it got there.
It sucks that it got there, and that's why we have to fix it.
But I think people like us make real change.
I agree.
Because we are encouraging others to speak up.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. I have people send me the most, even when I'm like, you know what, man, fuck this. I don't want to do this shit no more. I don't want to do this stuff no more. I'm like, man, I'm just going to focus on this. And I get the most dopest DM, like, oh, you know, you're doing this and that, and you change, you know, like, and all of that. I'm like, oh, all right. Forget I said what I said. Like, I just bought a freaking building. Like, whatever. That's it. I have to keep on going.
I have to keep going.
You know what I mean? So
it's you've opened my eyes messages that really keep you pushing. I don't care about the hate. It actually, the hate, I'm petty.
Like 50 Cent petty?
Like, it inspires me whenever I see people who hate me. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't, like, I don't get, like, when I see negative comments, I don't get in my feelings or anything. To me, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
But when I see you have opened my eyes. Like, you've been able to inform me to the point where I don't think the same way that I used to. Mm-hmm. That's why you keep doing this.
Yeah. And I think, even the ones that feel that, hey, I can't say much, they're starting to build a lot of courage because of us. Like, hey, you know what? I am going to speak up and say the truth. And they feel more like
empowered to do so. Yeah, because at the same time, it's like once we build a community where you realize that you can't cancel a small business over political difference, then it'll stop. That's what I tell people, because like I saw a coffee shop, a few, trying to get canceled over an association, allegations. It wasn't even evidence.
They drilled me on that post. Drilled me. What? I commented like, I want to go support them. Oh, F you, you freaking Trumper.
Yep. Yeah.
That's kind of petty.
And I talked to the owners. The worst part is like, I really don't think they were, I think they were very moderate. They were very moderate, and they were getting drilled over that. People were trying to tear down their business over, I guess, out of context message. But even if it wasn't, why destroy everything that they've built?
But that's why I feel like in situations like that, like, I got to lead by example too. And I support any business that, like, I don't need to know who you voted for. I don't really care. And even if I do know, if you have a good product and you, like, it's irrelevant to me.
I care about my coffee fix.
Like, all I want is my coffee, and, like, you know, I like birria, I like all the bomb stuff. Like, just make that good. Like, we're good, and good customer service.
The worst thing you can do to me, the absolute worst thing that you can do to me that I would not forgive anybody for, bad food. Don't waste my calories. It makes me so angry whenever I go somewhere and the food is bad. But I'm judging that based off of the quality of the product.
The flavor.
I'm not going to cancel a place over you think differently than I do.
Look, I said this the other day. If you're a small business, especially like a restaurant, I don't care who you voted for. I'm going to support your business. I'm going to go. But there's 3 things that I ask for. It's good food, great customer service, and for it to be aesthetically pleasing. Like, all right, it's just nice.
I have lower standards than you, because I don't even care about the aesthetically pleasing. It's clean. If it's clean, we're good. But good food and good service. Because there's nothing worse than having a server who doesn't want to.
Well, actually, a rude server, but yeah, that would probably like.
It ruins your experience, because I've gone to some restaurants where I'm like, oh my God, the food here is great. But the service.
It's like, all right, like if you're gonna be the hostess or you're gonna be the server, like, Dan, smile. Like, even if you're having a bad day, this is your job.
It's your job.
You're here to just welcome people, and like, don't be mad.
It's like, dude, we all have bad days.
Jesus, like, we all have bad days. Just smile.
You gotta swallow something.
And bring me my chilaquiles, wait.
So yes, because if I'm going into a restaurant, I'm going in hungry. Do you really want to give me slight attitude when I'm hungry? That is the worst time you can ever come across me when I'm hungry. I'm not a nice person.
I get hangry.
I get hangry.
Beso, you know, started real Mexican
so like
in this mother.
After I eat, I probably wouldn't even care what your attitude was. But before I'm eating, and if you can't even get like a water or something, but yeah, no, you can't do anything worse than me than take me to a bad restaurant with bad food.
I have to bring this up because we were watching the video earlier.
Oh,
this Erica Kirk video.
The one where she's walking out of the show?
No, she's wearing a hat. I don't know if you've seen that. Show it to her. And I'm like, I wonder if she's seen. I wonder if she's seen this video with her hat and she's like calling out Candace Owens and then I'm like, why does she look like that? It looks super crazy. Yeah, she looks weird. Like super weird.
Maybe she finally broke after seeing everything that happened.
Because I seen the one where she was crying, like when she was, with the whole Trump stuff.
I don't care if you don't like that woman. I'm not like, it's one of those things. Why do you hate someone so much that you've never met? When she walked out crying after the shooting, she walked out crying and people were like, oh, those are fake tears. But if she hadn't walked out crying, she's a cold bitch.
Well, you're never going to win with people.
You're never going to win with people. So I'm like, at that point, you have to understand, too, that you're the problem. So you have your husband assassinated on TV. You've watched that. I'm sure that poor woman probably has seen that everywhere. You have his alleged friend make series attacking you and your family. It's not just that, but the way Candace Owens watched that video and repeated and replayed it on her podcast, too, just not how I would treat a friend. If they were actually truly my friend, not how I would treat them. Seeing all those comments, trying to run a nonprofit that your husband built, his legacy, knowing that your children are eventually going to come across that video too.
There's this one here, look.
I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband, and the list goes on.
Well, look at what she's wearing.
What is she wearing?
Like a black hat.
Every morning I wake up.
Like I've never seen her.
To a new headline lying about me.
Oh, is that A-Lo by any chance?
Comedians dressing up in white.
I have no idea.
No, who's that?
I have.
It's a brand of clothes.
I'm not fit to be CEO, and I
have no idea.
Okay, it only matters because the day after they dragged her to, because the day after Charlie died, apparently there's a charge. She had somebody with her account bought $1,000 worth of A-Lo clothes. Oh, okay. I was like, that would have been. I thought she was mocking them, which would have been hilarious.
Yeah, that was the video. I'm like, I really don't pay attention to any of the drama with Candace and her, but I just know that Candace, she's a little bit. She went a little bit too hard, huh? Like it's just a little bit too extreme.
Too much.
Like God, like bro, take it easy.
The only thing I'm saying is, if I had a friend who that had happened to, they were actually my friend, would they want me dragging their wife and their family on a national platform, knowing how people are, that they're emotionally charged, knowing that they're going to go after the family without knowing 100% if she's guilty? If she's guilty and you know that for 100%, come out with it publicly. You have the resources to do this in private. If it was anybody else, I'd be like, yeah, sure, you need the public. You have the resources to do this in private. You could have done it. You could have done this in private, made sure that the allegations were true before you came out in public. At this point, it seems like she's doing it for money. It doesn't seem like she's doing it for a friend. At first, I was with her too because I was like, hey, a lot of this stuff isn't adding up. And she was the only one questioning it. And then she went too far.
She went nuclear. It started off like, okay, Even I was agreeing with some of the things.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that her behavior is a little bit.
It is weird.
It's a little sus. But then again,
Her behavior.
how do you know how somebody grieves?
After everything that she's been through, like I said, just the idea of knowing that your kids are going to stumble upon that eventually. Seeing your husband, seeing not just the fact that somebody took your husband's life, but seeing people celebrate it at a national level because they didn't like him.
That's crazy.
Your kids no longer have a father. Your husband's alleged friend is now attacking you and everybody else that's around you. She's strong. A lot of people would have broken under that kind of pressure sooner.
It's a lot.
I haven't watched the video, but I don't know if maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what we're seeing. That's a lot of pressure for one individual to be under, all while running a company that your husband built and trying to make sure that doesn't fail. Because if it does fail, everything he worked for and what he died for, gone too, and now you're responsible for that. That's a lot of pressure.
It's tons of pressure. But I hope it all works. It all works out for her and Candace. Chill, relax.
Take a step back.
And
at first I thought she was grieving because I was like, everybody grieves differently, right? So I was like, okay, maybe Candace just went off the deep end because like if they were friends, but she's not stopping.
That's crazy. It's like, damn, girl, relax. Go enjoy all the money you've made so far.
Yeah,
just relax.
That's the
Take
thing.
it easy.
I think
come to California and just pay a lot in taxes.
Come to California.
But Araceli, I want to thank you for stopping by. Even though, last week, it was supposed to happen, but we had a little, a little bump in the road.
It's okay.
But it's
Thank
okay.
you for having me on here.
We're here, and I appreciate you. And I shared with you my idea that I had. So hopefully we can make that happen.
I'm excited. I think we can make that happen.
Yeah, I think so. So it was going to be something dope. And I know that our audience
you guys are going to love this.
So I want to tell you just yet, but it's going to be amazing.
If it happens, you'll know. You'll know.
So, but thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next time.
Let's
go. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Now make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss our weekly episodes. See you on the next one. Let's go.